Hello, and welcome to our online course. I wanted to talk to you today about the final paper. All students in History 202 are required to submit a final project that can be constructed as either a traditional paper or in multimedia format. When you click in our online class and go into week 7, click on the final project/paper proposal worksheet. Once here, you will see a list of topics. These are all topics related to our course. Your topic does not need to be one of these topics. However, you do need to choose a topic that is related to our course, meaning it needs to happen between 1500 to present. You can make a case that most of the topics that you will submit will be related to one of these major topics. You don't have to choose something that is on this list, but it does need to relate to one of these topics on the list. So, for example, there is no specific topic about the Rwandan genocide, but it is certainly related to Africa and decolonization and even global movements and civil rights. So there you're making a case. You will, to satisfy this assignment, answer each question about your self-selected topic, including what the topic is, providing background, so the who, what, when, where, and why for the topic. And you really want to try to apply something known as historical context. Historical context is best defined as setting the stage for an event. So if your topic was the Rwandan genocide, it's certainly worth your time putting a statement in about occupation of the Congo by the Belgians that had been going on for nearly 100 years and what that process may have looked like. Then talking about how that is creating cause for this genocide that happens in the late 20th century. The next question is identifying 4 specific events that show change over time. So keeping within that example of the genocide in Rwanda, you might look at something known as the Hamitic hypothesis, separation between Tutsis and Hutus, the independence process, or specific events within the genocide, such as when it begins, how it unfolds, and then how it ends. But 4 subtopics about the event. If you were looking at, say, the civil rights movement in the United States, you might look at 4 specific activists or 4 moments within that movement to look at in full. And the next question is asking about the timeline for your investigation. So these are the dates for your investigation. If you're looking at something more broadly, such as industrialization, your timeline might be hundreds of years. If you're looking at a very narrow focus, it might be smaller. It does not matter, but you do need to specify what the timeline of what the dates are for what you are discussing. The final project is submitted in 3 stages. The first part is this project proposal worksheet where you are selecting your topic and telling me about it. The next step is gathering sources. So for the annotated bibliography, you will need 7 sources. At this point, however, I just want you to find a primary source related to your topic. And a primary source is a source that is produced at the time of an event. If you are looking at the Rwandan genocide, you might look at newspapers from the 1990s, TV commercials, or even you can hear the audio of what people in Rwanda heard when it was announced that the government was coming to remove Tutsis from the country. But you need to identify for the worksheet a primary source related to your investigation. The next question is asking you to tell me your research question. Every research project should begin with a question. Your research question should be somewhat broad. So typically the most effective questions start with either a how or why. You don't want a what question or who. You really want to create a question that is more broad in scope. The thesis statement should be clear, concise, and arguable. Remember, your thesis presents an argument that you want to try to support with evidence. And then in the number 8, you want to go ahead and write out what your introduction would be. Whether you're completing a multimedia presentation or a traditional paper, each requires an introduction. So this is your chance to practice. And remember, you need a good hook, right? A hook is a sentence that draws the reader in. So this is your chance to also bring something interesting into the paragraph. And then number 9, you want to tell me what form your research project will be delivered in. Are you writing a paper? If you're writing a paper, it's 4 to 5 pages, and you must cite all your sources. If you are creating a PowerPoint, it should be at least 12 slides of text, and that does not include the bibliography. The multimedia format should also cite sources. So all of the 7 sources should be referenced at least once, either in the paper or throughout the presentation. You do not have to use PowerPoint. There are so many interesting types of free presentation softwares, from Poplet to Satori, storytelling. You don't have to use boring old PowerPoint. You can use something much more interactive and interesting. But of course, that is up for the student to decide. There is a rubric, obviously, that explains how you will be assessed. So make sure to review that as well. The next step of the paper is the annotated bibliography, and that is due I believe at the beginning of April, and then your final project is due the last day of our class. Please let me know if you have any questions, issues, or concerns, and I look forward to reading your answers to the proposal worksheet.